Well, good morning, folks. It's Richard the Fishing Machine here. Beautiful morning. In fact, it's 10 o'clock. I'm out here late on purpose. I wanted this flat right here to warm up just a little bit on the surface. Now, what we have right here is basically the same thing that I've been doing. I have a strong pattern fishing flats. Water, well, from 2 to 4 feet deep. Now, this is a different cove that I'm fishing, that I found some fish. I finished up a fishing trip, shot it, and then I went to hunting for the same thing. The same thing. What I mean is developing a pattern. Let's talk about developing a pattern. The same depth of water, the same water temperature. I'm looking for forage, shad, in similar places. That's a pattern. The same set of conditions. I'm going to tell you or show you exactly how I'm going to catch them. I'm going to use two baits right here. I have a beetle spin. That's right. I'm going to try a beetle spin, and also I'm going to try an underspin, which has been a strong deal for me here lately. I tell you, a beetle spin is an old bait, but very effective for crappie. There's one. That's a good crappie right here. This is a good one, folks. My goodness, he slammed that bait. All a beetle spin is just a little bitty spinner bait. That's all it is. That's net. Wow. That's a good fish right there. Hey man, I'm talking about woo. Alright folks, that's the kind of fish right there that a beetle spin can catch you. There's no doubt about it. That bait is deadly. When it comes straight out of the pack, it's deadly. But I think, not being a know-it-all, just years and years of fishing, I think that I've come up with a modification, which I'm going to show you right now, that will improve catching crappie, specifically crappie. There he goes. I do this modification to a beetle spin and a Betts spin. In this case, this is a Betts spin right here. It's 1/10 of an ounce. It's the smallest one, or I believe it's the smallest one. It's the one I use. All right, let's take the little spin off right here. Let me mention that these catches fish, we all know they do, out of the pack. But what I'm doing is showing you how to catch more crappie with them. All right, let's snap this pin back like that. Now every once in a while I'm going to have to tap this screen so it skews if there's a little jarring going on, so I can keep my hands in vision, like right now. Okay, now imagine this bait coming towards you. Imagine this jig. I shouldn't have took it off, but after you make a cast and it's coming to you, it's going to be leaning at an odd angle like that, tracking through the water. You don't want that. It's imbalanced. And I'm not knocking Betts or beetle spin, but it's the truth. They lean at an angle going through the water like that. Another thing they'll do, if you reel it too fast, they'll spin. You don't want that either. So what I'm going to do is correct this. Let's unsnap it right here. I'm going to take these side cutters and I'm going to cut it right there. Okay. Now, I'm going to put this, excuse me, I have to tap the screen again. I'm going to put this crappie magnet on here. Now, you can use a bobby garland. You can use, if you want to fish deeper, here's a 1/16 of an ounce. You can fish down 10 or 12 feet and slow roll this like a spinner bait now without any trouble, without it twisting or anything. But in this case, this is a 1/32 ounce, which I like to fish a 1/32 ounce in 2 to 4, 5 feet of water. But anyway, let's put the bait on. Now, all I'm going to do is take a pair of pliers and crimp it like that. Now what it's going to do is it's going to track through the water straight, just like a spinnerbait would. I mean, you know, you make adjustments on spinnerbaits if you're fishing for bass. You have to bend the wire and adjust it. If a spinnerbait fishing for bass is running it sideways, it's not nearly as effective as if it's tracking through the water straight. Crappie fishing ain't any different. So what we've made out of this bait is nothing but a little bitty tiny spinnerbait that catches a lot of crappie. Okay, now another thing that I'll do, sometimes this little Indiana blade won't get you as many strikes as this willow leaf will. So sometimes I'll change to a little willow leaf like that. Another thing I'll do in real muddy water or dingy water, I'll get a paint marker, a Sharpie paint marker. There's a yellow one, here's a white one. I got a chartreuse one, a red one, and an orange one. And while I'm out there on the water, I'll paint this blade right here. For muddy water, those colors are excellent. White, yellow, I should have brought my chartreuse, and orange blades. Those 4 works well for me. So, and one more thing is, this is a size 6 hook. If you noticed the hook, I've bent it up just a little bit. So when the crappie bites it, when you set the hook, it won't slide in his mouth and catch him only on the outside rim of the mouth. If he inhales it deep enough, it'll be immediate hook penetration. That helps me. That's high percentage fishing, folks. So that's all they are to a beetle spin or a bet spin. Simple modification that will put more fish over the gunnel. There's another crappie on the beetle spin. They're starting to fire up on this beetle spin. Let it be known, in the book of crappie fishing, every crappie angler should have a beetle spin. Let's flip him in. That's a good fish right there. That's a good black crappie. It's such a simple modification. Whoa! This is actually their migratory route from the main lake behind us into this cove. This is a great place right here to intersect them if they're not up on the flat. So that's how I approach a flat. I find out where there's a ditch or deeper water that these fish migrate. Actually, the shad migrate the edges of these ditches or slightly deeper water onto a flat, and the crappie follow. So we're liable to catch one right here in this ditch. But for the most part, most of the fish are going to be situated on that flat. That's just how it works. There's fish. All right. Come on back here, boy. Well, there's the first one right there. I felt me a little depression right here on these flats, folks. I want to explain something. Now, the average depth is around 2.5 feet. Now, right here, I found a little hole. I've been checking it out, going back and forth, looking how big it is. It's 3.5 feet. It's just a little depression. It don't take much of a depth change to hold these fish, not on these flats. Now, I've been fishing in this 2 foot and 2.5 foot water behind me And all I've been able to catch is small yellow bass. So that's something to pay attention to when you're out here on flats, because the bottom configuration is not always the same. There'll be little dips, little holes, and it don't seem like that would make a big difference, but it does. Now that was just the first bite here in this hole, but there could be several crappie in here, or they may not be. Now this is where you fish. You fish real hard for the next bite, and if you get a couple more bites pretty quick, well, now you can reasonably be assured that you're on fish. There he is. I can't tell how big this fish is yet, but it's crappie. Yep, there he is. Good fish. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Big old pretty black crappie. Okay. They're not holding no certain place, folks. Golly, let's flip him in. That's a good fish right there. Barely got him hooked. They're not holding. Now, I caught one on the other side of that. There's no fish in that top right there, by the way. They're not relating the structure at all. They're just out here eating some shad before the next cold front comes so they can go off in the deeper water. That's a nice white crappie. Let's let him go. I mean black crappie. God, what a pretty fish. Now that fish hit around 2 feet deep. I mean 4 feet of water right here. So I'm just letting that spinner do its job. See, I don't have to do anything fancy right here. Just a steady retrieve. That spinner's doing all the work. I tell you folks, that little Indiana blade is the deal, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes I'll change it to a little bitty Colorado blade or a little Indiana blade. It just depends. And sometimes I'll change from nickel to gold. If the water clarity's murky or a little muddy, account of a lot of rain, I'll change that blade to a gold. I believe I get a few more strikes like that. So there's a lot of different things you can do as far as tweaking bait types like this. Now what I do, being it's 5 feet of water right here, I'm a mid-depth kind of guy. I'm gonna fish about 2.5 feet with this underspin. 2.5 feet deep. Now when I get on back up into that 3 and 4 feet of water or shallower, I'm gonna do the same thing, folks. That's how simple it is. Crappie feed up. So I feel like most of the time, if you'll fish about the center of the water column, whatever depth that you're fishing up on these flats, now we're just talking about flats right now, you'll catch a fish. And I just lost one right there. There he is. Now that's a little better crappie right here. That's a good one right there. I could tell when I set the hook. Yeah. You can run, but you can't hide, crappie fish. That's a good one. Okay. You can just tell when you set the hook. Let's let him go right here. Well, folks, the green hornet has struck in again. Okay. Giddy up, cowboy. Woo! Hey, 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 whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Well, folks, that was a blessed day, no doubt. Caught a lot of fish, caught them on 2 different baits. You know, bait modifications is something I do all the time. Just about every bait that I use when it comes to crappie fishing or bass fishing, I have to tweak them out. And a lot of times it's necessary. It really is to put more fish over the gunnel. It is. I want to say God bless each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for all the great comments. I read every one of them. In fact, I can't remember his name. It's on the tip of my tongue, but he wanted to know when the green hornet was going to strike again. And so I'm gonna name this boat the Green Hornet. It's fitting. I want to say God bless each and every one of y'all. Hey, keep them hooks wet. Whoa. Keep the hooks wet. Whoa.